Hey guys, in today's video we have a lot of new information on the upcoming Star Wars shows and other things as well. This article that we're going to be covering in this video is from Vanity Fair, and it's literally so big and it has so much information in it. So at the top of the article we have some news on the upcoming shows release dates, or rather it's release time since it's not a set date yet. We know that Kenobi is coming very soon on May 27th, but the next show after that is going to be Andor. And this show is set to come out late this summer. And then The Mandalorian Season 3, they say it will come out late 2022 or early 2023. So they don't have an exact date or time for that show yet, which is pretty interesting. So if you didn't know already, this year we'll have a lot of new content for Star Wars and new shows and a bunch of cool stuff, so there's a good reason to be excited this year. The article also has so many great pictures of all of the characters together, including this amazing photo of my boy Hayden practicing the Darth Vader duel against Kenobi. And this just kind of reminds me of the behind the scenes from Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones. And I believe this is the first time that we see Darth Vader in his suit, the way he's going to look in Kenobi, and he just looks incredible, man. This article is really big and it has a lot of things about every show pretty much, but for this video I want to focus on what they had to say about Kenobi. And they are talking about Ewan and Hayden in this, so let me read this out. When the Obi-Wan film later evolved into an Obi-Wan TV series as part of Lucasfilm's new yearning for Disney Plus content, Daldry departed and Deborah Chow, a director from The Mandalorian, came aboard with the goal to keep the series cinematic in scope. There remained one missing component. McGregor's prequel co-star, Hayden Christensen, had been Anakin Skywalker to his Obi-Wan, brother-in-arms until their brutal battle on a lava flow in Revenge of the Sith. Still, in the early iterations of the Obi-Wan in Exile story, Vader wasn't included. So this was very interesting for me to read. So apparently in the early iterations of the Kenobi story, Vader wasn't supposed to be in there, which this to me just sounds crazy in a way. I don't think you can have a story about Obi-Wan, especially at this time, without having Vader in it. And I'm happy they decided to have him in there in the end. It's an ongoing conundrum at Lucasfilm. How much should they showcase legacy characters, and how much should they keep them in reserve? Would introducing Vader to a story about Obi-Wan's exile distract from their fateful meeting on the Death Star in 1977's when Vader strikes down his old friend? Or could a previously unknown encounter actually enhance that moment? So this is when the article starts talking about Hayden, so let's get into it. In the fall of 2019, Chow sat in Christensen's living room, asking him to return as the most fearsome tyrant in the galaxy. Logs crackled in the fireplace. A cup of herb, lemon and ginger tea steamed in Chow's cup. Vader, she told Christensen, would add a new dimension that could ultimately reframe the way fans look at their classic duel in the original movie. At the time of the meeting, it had been 14 years since Revenge of the Sith, and the actor assumed his galactic glory days were done. He was happy to be wrong. This is a character that has come to define my life in so many ways, he says. I was originally hired to play a very specific portion of this person's life. Most of my work was with Anakin, and now I get to come back and explore the character of Darth Vader. Technically, you don't need Christensen for Vader, in my opinion you do. All you need is the mask, a hulking figure in the suit, and, if you're lucky, James Earl Jones' imperious voice. But you do need Christensen to show the audience the hot-headed but compassionate man who was lost when Anakin Skywalker became Vader. A lot of my conversations with Deborah were about wanting to convey this feeling of strength, but also coupled with imprisonment, Christensen says. There's this power and vulnerability, and I think that's an interesting space to explore. To me, this is just so cool to hear Hayden and Deborah talking about this together. And I feel Hayden really gets where this character is at this point in time. I mean, Hayden is Anakin, so it makes sense. While Anakin or Vader is really powerful and menacing, he's also trapped in this suit and this life of pain and sadness, and I think that's something we will explore in the show. But let's continue. Part of Chow's successful perspective on why Vader and Kenobi should face each other again may surprise even the most ardent Star Wars fans, especially those who think of the two as harboring an epic contempt for one another. For me, across the prequels through the original trilogy, there's a love story dynamic with these two that goes through the whole thing, Chow says. I felt like it was quite hard to not include the person who left Kenobi in such anguish in the series. What intrigued her was the idea that despite what Vader had become, Kenobi might still care deeply about him. I don't know how you could not, she says. I don't think he ever will not care about him. What's special about that relationship is that they loved each other. And this is where the section in the article about Kenobi ends. There was a lot of very interesting stuff that I found in this section of the article. And I cannot believe that the Kenobi show will drop in 10 days, and I'm really excited for it. Just seeing, that picture or the video where you see Vader standing, even for that split second, it gets me hyped every time. As mentioned, I think I will be covering some of the other parts in this huge article in some other videos as well, so maybe covering the different shows and what they said about those. Also, Star Wars Celebration is also happening very soon, the same weekend that Kenobi is coming out, where they will probably announce a lot more, so stay tuned for that. I'll try and do my best to cover that when that's going on. Until then, have a great day, may the Force be with you, and remember, this is the way.